Okay, the watch list for Monday, August 29th. Friday, the market actually had a little bit of range thanks to Yellen speaking. And so this next week might get a little bit more interesting as far as volume, volatility. We'll see, right? But we're still in, if you look at about the last month, we're in a range from like 214 to whatever, what was this high back here? 219.60. We just rounded up 220. We're, in maybe a $6 range. And we're kind of right in the middle of that range, right? So I'm not that worried about the spot here. I think we can still just continue to play the watch list stocks as they set up. So let's go into that right now. I got NYMX on watch. Anytime we have a crazy move, I like to keep these things on watch. Now you got two big down days. The volume was bigger on these down days, but I think this one, if not Monday, sometime this week is probably going to give a nice bounce just as shorts cover, happy with their gains, and then we could get a little bit of a mini intraday short squeeze. So whenever I have a stock that's moved like this, I try to keep it on my radar, right? Sometimes you can, in 10 minutes, make your daily goal on something like this, as long as you have it on a chart, right, and you're ready to trade it. I like to have at least one beaten up stock on watch for the next day. GameStop GME got hit on Friday, closed at its lows. It did bounce off this same area back here a few weeks ago. I don't know. I just keep something like this on watch. If it gets an early sell-off tomorrow, a lot of times you get a nice intraday reversal. So I'm not in love with this one, but I try to at least once every watch list have something like that on watch, right? Because you do see the big red candle and the next day a bounce a lot of times. So it's not a terrible thing to have on watch. It doesn't cost me anything to have it on a chart. CYCC has had a really big move and actually got a nice trade in it. This looks like an errant tick, but it actually did pop up to almost 8 on Thursday. We had a nice long trade in it, and now it's back down. It's in the area between the 8 and the 20-day moving average, which also is kind of resistance back here, could become support. So it is an interesting area for a bounce back up now. So I want to watch CYCC for a bounce on Monday. ADMP, maybe a red to green or something. I don't want to chase. And we got a nice call on this one on Friday in the chat room. And, I'm looking for this one to possibly continue. I don't have I'm not just going to blindly buy it, but if it gives me a low risk setup, it's very interesting. I believe the story here is that they're working on a generic for that EpiPen, if I'm not mistaken. Double check that. I think this is the symbol. If not, I'm way off. Wouldn't be the first time, but still the chart looks handsome here because it just got decimated back here. And if that is the story, and Mylan Labs is under everybody's radar anyway, and this starts becoming viewed as the alternative to that, and it's a beaten up stock, low price stock, you can see what can happen, right? And I believe that pretty much started on Friday. So let's keep this one on our radar. STAF. This one's super interesting to me because it had a big volume spike, closed nicely above its open and coming off of nice support, and it's a low float. So this is a pretty good setup for a possible second day play. That's STAF. THLD goes on long watch. It's still flagging. We had a nice trade in it the other day from 85 to like 95. You know what? And it's kind of hanging on to the 8-day here. Had a really nice pop back here. So it's still really in a kind of a symmetrical triangle. I still think that thing could break to the upside one of these days. So it goes on watch. STEM may have found support on Friday. It hasn't broken a previous day's high in like a week. And you got a kind of a little hammer candle. So let's watch STEM for a possible long. If they go to 5-minute candles, you can see, or let's make it 15s. You can see that it had this nice pop on Friday afternoon, and here it is on 5s, right? So it closed strong, so I'm going to be looking for that momentum to continue into Monday. We'll see. EGLE, really big volume on this thing and a huge pop. It gave back a lot of the gains. Actually called this one long right here around 775. I got a stinking partial fill. I tried to get 2,000 and I got 280 or something like that. And what a huge move. So just want to keep it on watch because it's a low float shipper and it might just it might catch a bid again after that volume. It's going to have some attention. So keep that one on your radar. That's EGLE, especially if the shippers start to move. GNK, kind of the same thing, low float shipper. This is a huge volume day for it, and that still was only a little over 500,000 shares to show you how thin this thing is. But you did have a nice big spike back here and here, so if shippers get going, GNK, EGLE, both interesting to me. And then lastly, I'm going to throw VUZI on watch. Got an old trend line on here. I can remove that. it's just kind of building. I like it over this $8 area, but keep in mind it's been up for about a week straight. You look at it on, let's see, 60s. Looks a little, you can kind of see the 8 resistance a little easier when you switch to 60. So if it can get through 8 with volume, it might pop. Not in love with this one, but anyway, we'll work together as a team to spot some potential gappers on Monday morning as well. And we'll be watching this list. All right, enjoy the rest of your night, and we'll talk to you tomorrow.